you, Arlene. I also want to say that in my presentation, we have to give credit to Arlene. She's one of the pioneers of this program delivery anyway. And I think she describes to me, even while they're on the road, they're figuring out some of these experiential exercises that I think we'll do today. It's a quicker way of learning than us to have textbook, and I just need to rearrange a few things here. How many of you have heard about the senior-friendly program? Ever encountered that? Yeah, a few. How about the age-friendly initiatives from the World Health Organization through the federal government, through provincial government? Anyone come around your community from the provincial government and said, have you guys started working on your age-friendly initiatives? So just kind of keep that on your radar, because you'll probably be hearing more of that as we have a beautiful gray wave coming. Has anyone heard that? Yes. Is anyone here a part of that wave? Any baby boomers in the room? I love this. I love what the Rotary has to say. I thought that your 4 key points really fit with the senior-friendly program, and I'm just going to bring these up again. Is it true? So you can run this information through that filter and say, is what she's saying, is it true? Is it fair to all that's connected? So when we talk about the senior-friendly program, we are really talking about everyone. That if you think about your most frail person in your community, and not all of us will become very frail and completely dependent, but some of us will. And so we say, and if we program for them, we consider everyone, but if we only program for, say, the youngest children, it doesn't work the other way. So we kind of keep that in mind. Is this inclusive? Does it build goodwill and friendships? Absolutely. This program was first really designed to teach businesses and community groups and organizations how to be senior-friendly, how to think about what it might be like to serve someone who has some challenges. And we're going to work through that a little bit. And again, is it beneficial to all that's connected? So I would say that as a business owner or a healthcare facility, a minister of a church, this particular business that we're in right now, if people think about these principles, you are going to have a much happier staff, and you will start to be known as, there's something funny about that place, where you just walk in and you feel really special. You just feel like people care about you. So I think one of the nuggets within this program is it helps to shift attitudes, and it addresses ageism. And ageism is a big issue, and we want to pay attention to that as we're training. So what we do is, with the Alberta Council on Aging, we will do presentations like this for groups who are interested in knowing more about senior-friendly. And we also have a Train the Trainers program, so that people can bring on their own trainer on site and watch the shift start to happen. You can have full designation as a business, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. I do have some resources on the table when you leave, if you would like. We've developed some of our materials to be absolutely free. We just want people to have this awareness. And then at a low cost is the training. And so we just, our business as a nonprofit is we want to improve the quality of life for seniors. So this is our, I'd say this would be our core business unit. So we're going to talk a little bit about why be senior friendly. And again, if you look at your 4 key points, the answer is right there. We're going to learn a little bit more about seniors. We're going to experience what someone might be going through, or what we might be going through in the future. We want to talk a little bit about customer service and what a personal action plan would look like. I will tell you this from, I always measure this in any environment I've been in working with seniors, and mostly since I've been 14 years old. I really notice when people are kind, when they wear name tags, when they obviously have thought about you coming, she just tipped me off. She said, you guys came through the back door, so we did too, but she's waiting at the front door for us. But every one of you, when we came in, were welcoming. And that's huge. And you would think, is that common sense? But common sense doesn't mean the same thing to all people anymore. So we have to really address what it is that makes the environment good. So when we look at the goals of Senior Friendly, we say we want to be more aware of seniors and what they're experiencing and what their needs are. So just a quick point on this where we really want to be walking this talk is when we put our information out, and if a senior or anyone actually representing a senior calls us back and says, have you thought about this? This was my experience. I went to the dentist. It was so cold in there, and I had to take my boots and shoes off. There were no slippers. I didn't know I should bring something, and plus I didn't know I would need a blanket. So the environment was so cold to that person that she actually contacted us and said, make sure you remind people of that. So there will be new things that unfold, and really we need to not be saying, oh, we have our list, we're done. It's an ongoing awareness. We definitely want to change our attitudes towards seniors. I don't know how many of you have followed communications like this, but I was a little alarmed this summer when a person had written into the journal and was complaining about the Edmonton Folk Festival, saying, man, all these performers are so old. And it's like, well, look at the crowd. We are, you're the Grey Wave, and these are the musicians that we revere. I mean, for me to hear Honey Boy Edwards, and he was in his 90s, was a highlight of my life. I don't have an ageism problem. I've always really appreciated seniors, and I'm not saying all seniors are the same, because we're not. But I am saying is that we need to catch the ageisms, and so programs like Senior Friendly really do, in a good way, address these challenges. So again, you would want to be able to provide a baseline for your business, that would be applied to everyone. And ultimately, our interest with the Alberta Council on Aging is we very much want to continue to improve the quality of life. So the great thing that the pioneers of this program don't know how well they set us up with this current time, because this was developed by seniors in the late 90s. And now we can align ourselves to this age-friendly initiative, which is very important. Plus, out of that, we have social policy, which we can speak to our health minister about. If we are to age well in our homes, if we are to have age-friendly communities that are inclusive to all of us, then all levels of government have to be able to respond to what that looks like in terms of infrastructure and staffing and communications. So our training objectives when we do this is that we want to dispel myths about seniors, and we want to understand the implications of this age wave. And we had a little discussion here earlier about what we knew this was coming. And if you imagine, not very long from now, 25% of Canadians will be seniors. I think that's powerful, and it's a double edge, right? So we want businesses and organizations and community groups to be really leaders in this and communicating that respect back to your customers and to the community at large. And again, discovering seniors' needs is very powerful. When we're younger, we don't realize how some of these challenges will impact. And so when we're training, again, we practice some service tips, and we invite our participants to help us grow these service tips and identifying these moments of truth. When we think next week we'll be with Supports Alberta, this is where they're well trained to deal with their customers over the phone mainly, and they need review, and they know they need review, because I think what happens is either we don't always know the implications, or we get tired and we lose sort of our place as to how we need to be communicating. So we want to develop best practice. Let's do some myth slaying. Anybody here have a favorite myth on seniors? One of them that I think is great is that seniors don't have sex.
Well, I was going to ask you about the dirty old men comment.
Yeah. Well,
Can we eliminate that?
yes, we definitely, part of how we dispel myths like that is we don't be dirty old men ourselves. And actually we learn a good communication to understand where that might be coming from, right? It could be coming from a person who has a type of dementia and they don't have that good filter. But it's also learning as a service provider how to speak to that, how to work with that. I think another myth that is really important is that all seniors are rich or all seniors are poor, right? Can you think of any others? How about this? Do we think that seniors as they age are helpless, kind of hopeless? Do we fear it? Do we go into our aging victoriously, like, here we go? Or do we sort of think, oh my gosh, not this now?
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day. How about this one? Seniors are too old to contribute to society. One of my best friends ever in my entire life is 99 years old. She just turned 99. She says the smartest thing. She does not mince words. She is always just to the point because she has all this life experience. And she's so beautiful with younger people. And it's a gift. And even though she is finished, she would rather not be here any longer because her body is creating a lot of pain. She still will give. She still will appreciate a visit and contribute with this great wisdom. I think another one too, imagine that you're a room full of younger people that haven't experienced the aging of your parents and some neighbors and whatnot, is that that all seniors live in nursing homes, or we all will live in a nursing home, right? This is a big one that's being floated around a lot, and we need to be very careful about this, and that is that seniors will place an extra burden on the healthcare system compared to any other ages. But really and truly, when we flip that around, seniors are aging probably better than they ever have. Thanks to people like Arlene, who whipped our butts into shape many years ago and said it will matter later, right? So seniors too are all living in the past. Another myth. Seniors live an easy life. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And seniors have no sense of humor. Did you know that? No. Okay. So what we do is we start to break this down when we're teaching. It's really about empathy. And we need to learn a little bit about vision. Ashley, have you given everybody a pen and paper? Perfect. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about what happens with vision. How many of you have noticed a change in your vision from childhood to now? Vision, yes. So if you think about this, everything in terms of vision is important. Signage is hugely important. And not assuming that everybody can see extremely well. And looking at different diseases that will impact. I'm just going to have Ashley just pass these around the tables just so you can have a quick look at what some of these diseases do to the vision. And then I'm going to have Arlene come along and give you some new eyes.
Well, I come up to get the new eyes. If you want to sense, because I work at the NIV, what it would be like to have glaucoma if you were to make a little tunnel with your hands and then peer around the room, you would see what is seen or not seen. And then the other thing with macular degeneration, very common one of aging, just put your finger out a little, just sort of into the front and look across the table or around the
for a couple seconds and it's uncomfortable, imagine that that's your day in, day out. So just try your new life with your new glasses. Maybe write your name down on a piece of paper. Pass your paper to your neighbor and read theirs. Ashley Scott is my helper. She is a new recruit at the Alberta Council on Aging, so we strongly believe in the relationship between the young and the older ones. We help each other, I think, a lot. It's a program that's been developed to actually teach about those relationships, the grandchildren and grandparents. How's everybody doing? I noticed that some of you aren't wearing your glasses anymore, and I wonder why. Put mine on to see who you are. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to keep your glasses on. This makes it even more fun. We're going to listen to a tape recorder, and I'm going to get you to, this is called the unfair hearing test. To give you an idea, this is more than not, we have diminished hearing as we age. Have you noticed that? So there are, when we go more in depth, there's extreme examples of hearing loss that people can tend to withdraw and even go into a type of depression because they aren't able to continue to interact the way they did. Let's have a couple minutes of the hearing test. This is what you heard. Fill, catch, thumb, heap, wise, wedge, fish, shows, bed, and juice. And I'm going to tell you, did you get some? No. You did? Beautiful. Okay, folks, we know who's very tuned in, because this is what I saw when I looked out at you as a group. See my face? Okay, you're a patient group of people, and you should be studied seriously. Because when I get to this frequency and hear it, I just don't even want to bother. I just feel so like, so I also know that I'm a person that's at risk. If I'm not able to catch what's happening in the environment, I will shut down like that. Whereas you, sir, are more patient, but you're also, your hearing is that much better, and you're able to pick this out. For most of us at this frequency we can't, but we need to realize this is a reality for people in our families, people that we serve in our businesses, people who are on the phone. And if you think, if they're taking time, if it looks like they're processing or they're taking too long to answer, they're thinking about what it is they heard and they're trying to make sense of it. This is so serious that sometimes people who have unchecked hearing loss will be diagnosed with dementia. Because essentially, what did any of us hear? If we had to give an answer back, we would have said something, right? But it would have been, well, we already found out. Only one in the room picked out a few of those words. So that's very important. Another thing that we would do is we would look at cognition, because that's very significant. The statistics on Alzheimer's disease in Canada This is just Alzheimer's disease, and there's many different kinds of dementias, but it's 1 in 3 over 85 years of age. And being over 85 years of age is not the exception anymore, right? We back this up and we look at Alberta, who has the highest incidence of what's called early onset, early stage. That's under 65. We have the highest incidence in Canada. So sometimes this will be another thing that's going on with our customers, our family members, whatnot. So let's do a little bit of empathy around cognition. Very soon, when does the penny become obsolete?
The end of this month, isn't it?
Next week? So then we're going to rename this particular test. It's going to be called the unfair cognitive test. But right now, without getting a penny out, without looking at your neighbor, please draw the front and the back side of a penny. Okay, how'd you do? I'm going to have Ashley just hand out a couple of patterns so you can check yourself. Here's another one. Can you find a partner at the table? If there's 3 of you, you can play with 3. Take the number 100 and count back in 7s. Take turns. Did it feel like a little hard? And again, you know, I get two in and I start thinking, what's the point of this? But you see, then you know you have good cognition like Angus, because he said, that's why I have a computer. So just remember, if you have a mini mental test, take your calculator with you and a pen and paper and you'll be fine. But that's high cognition because we have good reasoning there, right? So just to give a sense again that some people will be still very much a part of our communities. They'll be in the workplace, they will be in our family homes, and they will be struggling. And so we need to pay attention to that. Okay, so we also do a couple of things where we want you to get a little bit of a sense of what it's like to have osteoporosis or arthritis or bursitis. Any of you heard of any of these? They've met you personally on your path. So yeah, and it makes life difficult. So does anyone here have a birthday in the last few days or next few days? Do we have a birthday person here? How about, did anybody have a birthday in December? Wow, November. All right, come on up, you're the lucky one. We just want to, again, sort of do some of this mock of what is going on. So you do have some pretty sore knees, and we're concerned about your balance. So the Royal We have decided you need a walker.
Can I borrow it?
Maybe you want to take a little walk, just to get a little practice before we load you up with a few other complications. What did you do with your glasses? You were never given any. Maybe Ashley, you could find a pair for him. Here's your change purse. Here's your bags, because are you out in Spruce Grove charging people for bags in any places yet?
Yes.
Yeah. So you need your bags with you. Here's your coupons.
Well, you're reinforcing stereotypes there. That's not fair.
Really?
Not all seniors are coupon clippers.
Oh no. That's a good point. I wasn't even trying to make that one. And this goes on this hand as best you can. And what we're doing is it's a glove, and it's a grippy glove, and what we've done is we've tied a couple fingers together to really emulate that lack of mobility. And that's his good hand.
And the rest of us, let's leave.
This is, he's actually has bursitis in his elbow and shoulder, and his hand is not even really, the fingers aren't moving very well. So I think you better go for a little walk and go see if you can buy a toothbrush from Ashley.
Watch the dust.
Does some of you just want to jump in and help him? Oh, good. That's a good answer. Thank you.
You forgot to use your coupons.
Thank you very much. Could you give him a big hand? If you don't mind, and I know this is kind of fun and funny, but I'd just like you to imagine before you take this robe, could you just tell us a little bit about your feelings? As this being your new state of being, what's this going to mean to you in your life?
This is like
So
Sean.
again, we want facilities that are accessible, safe, convenient, comfortable. We want personal service that is unrushed and courteous, and I appreciate when I ask, don't you want to help? Some of us do. Some of us will never understand why it's taking so long in that lineup. That's human nature, right? Some of us are wired to help. In this program, we want everyone to be a little bit more mindful, and that you don't jump in, because we want to let people be inclusive and operate as much as they can independently. So we would watch for barriers that could be problematic. We would prop open heavy doors so you wouldn't have any difficulty coming through that door. We would make sure there was a chair so someone could sit when they were doing their banking so they could rest. We would make sure, this is the top now, after 40, I don't know, it becomes very important, where is the washroom, right? We want to know these things. We want usable products that make life easier, and we want clear communication in our dialogue and in print. I am a stickler. I ask people all the time, if I don't understand what I've been told, I say, excuse me, I don't understand what you just said to me. Could you repeat that? If I ask someone where the washroom is and they go, I actually will go, I don't know what that means. Can you be clear with me? It's not just that I'm trying to walk the talk of this program. These things bother all of us. And if you imagine if it builds up, you can see how people become isolated. It just becomes too big. Okay, so we're going to just talk a little tiny bit about the seniors' contribution as well. We would ask, we wouldn't want to assume. We would listen attentively. We invite participation and ideas. And again, always combating the ageism and discrimination. So we can make jokes on ourselves, but we're very careful about, old age jokes, because this is where we're headed, and it should be a victorious thing, not something we fear. So we go more into service tips, which I'm going to carry on. We can cover those off on another day. Again, just think of it very, very basic. We want to make things easy to see, easy to hear, and easy to understand. Give people a person to talk to. And this is why I was so happy with Supports Alberta. They are actually going to have a person. They are reinstating a person you can actually talk to. This is such an important trend. So seniors, in fact, will be very grateful. So you can just imagine whatever program platform you're thinking of, whether again it's church, or it's a store, or it's your family home. We just believe that your customers will be very grateful, and you will put your community on the map when you consider inclusiveness for all people. So I want to give you, can we have a little time warp and say it's not actually 1:33? Can I just take a few questions if you have? Go ahead.
I just want to thank you. Everyone who works in my business is relatively young, save one or two people. But I develop software, and there are certain accessibility guidelines for developing software, but I don't know that our design team does enough to think about the fact that the thousands of people who use our software are school principals and central office administrators, most of whom are fitting the demographic that you're talking about.
That's right.
And I'll go back and I'll do more because of this, so thank you.
Thank you. Could we give him a hand? These awarenesses are really important. They're very important. And there is a lot of material on this, and we like to be a resource to this, but it's that we use the material and that it matters and that you will be offering better customer service. Anyone else? Yes.
I don't have a question. Just thought everyone should know I have an eye test in the morning and a hearing test tomorrow afternoon.
Best of luck. Okay.
Or Judy, at least that's what you think you have.
Yes. Judy, this is for you too. Old age is no place for sissies.
What a great expression.
Well, thank you very much, Donna. Nice to meet you. And yeah, I guess we're all going to get there eventually.
Oh, so.